this morning, and I thought I would just read through one or two of them. And here's one that I made reference to earlier that I thought would be interesting for you guys because, this is information you won't hear anywhere else. It's not information that is taught to vets or doctors or even naturopaths. Maybe naturopaths, I'm not sure. They they learn some truths in their training, and I used to work at a naturopathic college, so I know a little bit about what they learn, and some of it is true and some of it is not. Just like medical school, but they don't learn the really harmful stuff like medical school teaches, drugs and whatnot. Okay, this law is called the law of vital accommodation. And by the way, this wording is kind of formal. It was written in the mid 80s. You might have heard this same law expressed in a different way. So I'll, try to explain it as I go along if it seems kind of arcane. But it goes, the law of vital accommodation is also known as nature's balance wheel. The response of the vital organism to internal and external stimuli, agents, and influences is intrinsic and instinctive, based on self-preserving, self-maintaining, and self-defending abilities, which enable the organism to adapt, in quotes, tolerate, or accommodate those extraneous influences it cannot utilize, escape, destroy, eliminate, or control in whatever way possible in order to maintain cellular, organic, and systemic integrity and to protect the life of the organism at the expense, and here's the important part, one of the important parts, at the expense of enervation, overall impairment of health, and consequent degeneration within the organism. And that's what I was saying before about how whenever the body has to protect itself against something, it has to give something up. So you will become more tolerant of things. You'll be able to, if you're very tolerant of perfumes, you'll be able to walk into a room with people wearing perfume or lots of artificial fragrances and not feel any reaction in your body. But if that's new to you, and especially for children, then you will have a reaction to that. And it's this tolerance versus sensitivity. So it's the body is giving up sensitivity, giving up vitality in exchange for protecting itself. So continuing on, overall impairment of health and consequent degeneration within the organism in direct proportion to the amount of influences and the toxic enervating effects produced by the degenerating influences. This law means that the living organism can tolerate or accommodate the extraneous influences which enter or come into contact with it. It adapts itself, again in quotes, to whatever it cannot free itself of. The body tries in every way possible to maintain functional poise, having to sacrifice well-being. Functional vigor is lowered for the sake of survival. When we make compromises, we do so invariably at our own expense. We create conditions. The laws remain constant. So, you have to apply a bunch of different harmful influences, and you can understand how the body might need to build its protection against those things. And it's just like the example that I've used many times. The people who have watched my videos for a while will be tired of hearing this metaphor, but it's not really a metaphor, but it's exactly the same thing when your hand forms a callus, when you do lots of work with your hands and don't wear gloves. Your body is giving up the sensitivity of your skin in order to protect itself against having to constantly create blisters there, and deal with this irritating abrasiveness here. So like right there, it might be where your calluses would form. I can feel my fingertip right now, but if I had calluses all along there, I wouldn't be able to. And that would be my body giving up its functionality, which is the sensitivity. Skin is supposed to be sensitive, giving up its functionality for protection. So protection is not a good thing. Tolerance is not a good thing. We don't want to teach our bodies how to be tolerant. We want them to be sensitive. And that's one of the things that really, it's really a dilemma for people who start eating properly and get more sensitive, because they find that they go back to do things that they used to do before without apparent consequences, and they can't do those things anymore. They will walk into a store and be really bothered by all the artificial fragrances, or they will eat something that they used to eat before and they don't feel well, or their body actually gets rid of it. That's strength. It's actually strength. I know um, it seems like weakness, but it's not. It's like when children go off to the ballpark and eat too much, and they come home and spend the whole night, vomiting. That's their bodies retaining or having that original vitality, that original sensitivity that they were born with. So we all have that, and we can get it back, and it's a very good thing to get it back. It's not a bad thing.